Hey guys, welcome back to the Cult Classic Kids Show, and today we got to talk about Star Wars Outlaws and Ubisoft potentially up to some BS. Yo, it almost never ends with Ubisoft. They have gone fully off rails in 2024. Desperate to not go under, I guess, or not get bought up by Tencent or whatever. But Star Wars Outlaws has been a game that, from the very jump, didn't look very impressive to me. It really just looked like yet another Ubisoft game with a Star Wars skin on it. It's kind of wild how Star Wars Outlaws makes EA look like top tier developers when you compare Jedi Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor in terms of what they have to offer and the characters and just the general hype that was attached to those games for good reason. The game actually looked pretty quality. EA, Ubisoft just makes EA look like a way better developer than it realistically should be given credit for. But we have controversy, man, and honestly, it starts with uh really G-Man Lives. And I was actually talking shit to him on Twitter before I got banned on Twitter. So yeah. Um Cult Classic Cage on Twitter is no longer a thing. I will update you guys if I manage to get it unsuspended, but if you do want to follow me on Twitter, you would have to follow me at Mario Kart. Yes, at Mario Kart. I had to go into my bag of tricks because I wasn't going to go about this situation completely taking an L, so I had to flex a little bit, with my fucking magic wand. So, yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter at Mario Kart for now until I further update to see what happens with my account, but G-Man Lives came out and said, I'm removing my Star Wars Outlaws video. I guess I forgot the cardinal rule where you're not allowed to say nice things about video games anymore. And I don't really want to get a month's worth of abusive comments over it. First of all, I commented and said, I remember when G-Man Lives wasn't such a bitch, but mind you guys, I've watched G-Man Lives for a long time. Do retrospectives, review video games, and I really appreciated how he would go through games with a fine tooth comb. And really, for him to praise Star Wars Outlaws was very strange to me because it doesn't take much to look at general details and realize, yeah, something's clearly off about this game from many perspectives, from a quality perspective, from a lore perspective. Like, there's so many different issues with Star Wars Outlaws that really I would expect G-Man Lives to really be honest. This is what I expect of him. He's one of those that is very good at what he does. And then he goes on to say, also, for the record, I don't do sponsored videos. I make these videos for fun and I enjoy the process. I always have, and I'm still astonished how it's still astonishing to me how quickly people can turn on you over something like this. And he said how much people were asking how much was he paid for this. Oh man. But the reality is a lot of his longtime viewers noticed a change with G-Man Lives and it's unavoidable. He could pretend that it doesn't exist, but the reality is your core audience notices something is off with how you chose to approach this situation. And not for nothing, stand on that shit. If you're gonna be a sellout, stand on it. But eventually he said, all right, fuck it then, videos back up. And yeah, as we could see here 8 days ago, Star Wars Outlaws might actually be pretty good. I don't know if you guys want me to react to this video tonight on the Twilight Zone of Gaming, but I'm more than welcome to because I'm interested to see how far down the rabbit hole G-Man Lives has gone. But this has led to even more interesting things that may allegedly be up with Star Wars Outlaws and Ubisoft because shout out to Bounding into Comics. Spencer here is writing Ubisoft pays for influencers to travel to LA, visit Disneyland as part of Star Wars Outlaws marketing campaign. And if this, guys, if this is the case, holy shit. This is why, guys, this is why I started my YouTube channel with the intent to get all of these companies to hate me. And you know what? I've gotten a lot of other creators to hate me as well because I I clearly don't sell out to these companies, and I've gotten a lot of communities to hate me as well because, well, I'm not a dick-eating console gremlin like some of these people who hate me so much. But if this is the case, this is all alleged. Wow. A new report has revealed that in an ostensible attempt to elicit favorable fan coverage from Ubisoft is spending big on the online influencer angle in their Star Wars Outlaws marketing campaign. The depths of Ubisoft's wallet in regards to promoting their upcoming Star Wars game were first brought into light courtesy of German video game and sci-fi YouTuber Cyberpunk 20XX. His curiosity piqued both by Ubisoft CEO's declaration during the company's Q1 2024 earnings report. Star Wars Outlaws would have the biggest marketing campaign ever so far for a Ubisoft game, as well as recent accusations being floated on the media that some online content creators had been bought by Ubisoft. Cyberpunk 20XX began looking into just how effective in inflating the game's marketing budget that worked out for it. To this end, uh, said YouTuber's initials investigation revealed that between himself, a number of his fellow YouTubers, and everyone's respective audiences, far fewer knew the Star Wars Outlaws was launching at the end of August than the game's marketing budget would suggest. And yo, that is facts, man. Um, this game, other than the controversy surrounding it and how bad it looks, yeah, I don't really hear people actually genuinely hyped about Star Wars Outlaws. Some people, I'm definitely sure, aren't even aware that the game is coming out fairly shortly, like within what, a week or so, week or two, something like that. Everyone's talking about the Monkey King game that's coming out. I'm super excited for Visions of Mana. So yeah, that's just what I see anecdotally. And they said, however, after watching a video from fellow German creator Kardoff Kjan, Koenig, I don't, there's no way I'm ever going to pronounce that, but with all due respect to the creator, in which he revealed that he had not only been invited by Ubisoft to come to Los Angeles and spend a few hours in Star Wars Outlaws uh, for a few hours, but while there also spent a day at Disneyland. Yo. Cyberpunk 20XX proceeded to turn his attention away from standard news and video coverage and instead began searching out vlogs related to said event. As in his logic, because someone who is invited to Los Angeles will surely have made a blog about it. Lo and behold, in doing so, Cyberpunk 20XX, that not only had Ubisoft hosted a number of influencers for the Star Wars Outlaws promotional event, but that those who were invited were treated to such anonymities as a whale watching tour. What? A VIP tour at Disneyland and having their flights and hotels completely paid for. Bro, that is wild ass behavior. Dude, these people potentially, allegedly, completely bought for them padded reviews and coverage, allegedly. He said, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that when a company puts a lot of money into something, it will of course only do so if it benefits from it, argued the YouTuber. This, of course, this is not done out of charity, as well as know that business is not that good. Nonetheless, one cannot speak here for buying options, but rather of an attempt to influence. And yeah, if that's the case, I mean, look, I don't know where my YouTube channel goes from here, guys, but um, I hate traveling. So if you see me traveling and being like super hype posting videos to talk about how I'm going to get a first look at a game, I'm a sellout, guys. I'm just letting y'all know that at a time. Holy shit! The idea of traveling in itself, I really have to love you. I really do, genuinely speaking. I said whether and if how well this works depends on many factors. He continued. So if you want to know whether a creator has been influenced, you have to take some time to look into his stuff. You should usually get a pretty good feel for whether someone is influenced or not. But yes, the bad taste remains whether you like it or not. That's why professional journalists and media categorically reject such things and pay for their own travel accommodations and meals. Cyberpunk 20XX then declared, "This is obviously not the end of Ubisoft's strategy." Ubisoft has bought advertising from many content creators, not the usual placements at the beginning or in the middle of the video, but but entire videos, he asserted. In return, of course, paid for according to the reach of clicks achieved. There are a lot of figures that are buzzing around, but we're talking quite decent amount. We're not necessarily talking about peanuts here. And to even further go into this, because apparently there's even more information, German YouTuber claims advertising agency told him to make positive edits to his Star Wars Outlaws preview. So there's multiple sources, it seems like, of allegedly trying to kind of make Star Wars Outlaws look like a good game when really the game does not. It does not shine on its own. It's not even a shiny turret. It's just a dull looking experience from everything that I've seen. So a German YouTuber has claimed that uh, an intermediary agency encouraged him to give positive coverage to Star Wars Outlaws. And just to get into it, because we don't want to do the whole roundabout, but on August 2nd, German YouTuber Pyatt Schmidt, co-host Peter Smits announced to the channel's viewers, as machine translated via DBell. You could tell as some of it translated. He said, "Hi, Peter here. We've taken the Star Wars video offline, not because we wanted to sweep something under the carpet or anything, but because it should never have been published and we don't want it on the channel. We'll talk about it. We'll talk a bit more about this in the next Pikecast episode. I'm sorry." So he's just gonna admit, man, I made a mistake. He said, in light of the vague explanation, several users proceeded to accuse both Schmitz and his co-host Dennis, um, the latter of whom actually played and produced the Star Wars Outlaws preview, of having their opinions bought off by Ubisoft. And as summarized by YouTuber Wandercraft, the complaints against the channel revolved around the fact that Bremen was allowed to play Star Wars and record 4 hours. A 1-hour video was cut from it, but the advertising agency didn't like it, so it was shortened to 20 minutes, and they apparently had to cut in the required words, including a call for pre-orders. It annoyed a lot of people because Pite Schmidt is always against pre-ordering, and it came across as if their opinions were for sale. And if that doesn't tell you, something, I don't know what does. Holy shit. Now, if they put in, an open pay, advertisement, admitted it in the video, that's one thing. But this is them trying to influence their viewers under the guise of, well, they aren't bought and paid for. But it seems as though, at least with this video, they went against some of their own principles, allegedly. And to continue, eventually, this backlash would draw a response from Bremerman himself, who, in an apology to his viewers, admitted, "I completely understand the arguments being made here, and that wasn't right. I had the opportunity to play the game for 4 hours, and it was edited into over an hour of video." He then explained, as part of the review process, the entire video was then thrown back at us, and an intermediary agency, not Ubisoft, asked for a lot of changes, especially to the words at the beginning. Hmm. Yikes. Well, they were definitely influenced. The issue being, it's not Ubisoft themselves that were demanding these changes, but an intermediary agency. And I have to quite. So it's like you can't direct it at Ubisoft, but I mean, at the end of the day, who is paying this agency to, essentially demand these changes of content creators? I don't know, but I mean, hey, these companies don't work for free. They don't do charity for mega corporations. But also, I find it interesting that they were just looking at this over hour long video showing off Star Wars Outlaws and we're just like, yeah, cut this to 20 minutes. It sounds like to me that in practice watching that for over an hour was probably boring as shit. I would think. They said, since I personally thought the game was really cool, I didn't see a big problem with that, Bremerman defended. This was a huge miscalculation. Sorry, of course you don't have to pre-order a game. You can of course buy whatever you want with your money. I absolutely enjoyed the version I was shown. The process behind it behind it was for the ass. German. All right. Yeah. Uh basically a German saying. They said, and I'm sorry that you didn't push against it, that we didn't push against it more, but let ourselves be beaten wide open. Sorry for that. And you know what? Shout out to them for at least admitting it. At least we know we have more context of what's going on here, that a third party is indeed involved, but they are indeed influenced in how they decided to, talk about this game. And you know what? Maybe Bremerman here could have very well enjoyed the video game. I can't really say that for sure, but in regards to at least how they chose to edit the video, it wasn't of their own accord, you know? Notably, if Bremerman's claim of advertising agency pressure is true, this would render any and all previews of the and eventual reviews of Star Wars Outlaws completely suspect. Absolutely 100%. Who is influenced by these companies? Who is being told what to say? This isn't actual genuine opinions. These are influenced and curated opinions. He said this is more so than they already are, given how Ubisoft previously hosted a number of online influencers and reviewers for a lavish preview event in Los Angeles. There's a lot of sus stuff going on here, guys. A lot of sus stuff. Um, and look, man, I was on shout out to Hypnotic. I was on Hypnocast a couple of weeks ago where we watched the actual gameplay segments that were posted by IGN, and we were going through it with a fine tooth comb, and from every perspective, the game looked terrible. The voice acting for the main character is ass. The lip sync is so god awful. The character design looks so bad. The Star Wars lore is completely off. And while I'm not really knowledgeable on Star Wars lore, there were people on the panel with us that were very knowledgeable in Star Wars lore. She apparently had a grenade. I forget what it's called specifically as Star Wars by Star Wars lore, but a grenade roll up on her, and she didn't die. She got tossed into the air. Uh, just silly things, man. The game overall looks terrible from every fundamental aspect. And it's a shame because there's so many games that just look downright like shit. Or there's games out there that look promising, but then the performance is just crap. A lot of these, AAA publishers or creators, they're having a hard time really honing their craft. They're being influenced by all these agencies, Sweet Baby Inc., whatever have you, that, makes things so much more worse than the fact that they just can't seem to get it right. I guess a lot of DEI hiring are just people who aren't very good at their job. But then on top of it all, now we have agencies influencing the influencers on how to introduce games to their viewers. So yeah, that's the struggle, man. It is as a gamer, it's a constant uphill battle on who to trust. and really who to listen to. And at the end of the day, man, just go with your gut feeling, guys. That's the best thing I could tell you guys. Go with your gut instincts, because at least for me, more often than not, I'm right. um and it doesn't take much to smell some bullshit with Star Wars Outlaws. The game looks like trash. And the people I've been watching for years, if they happen to not be fair with their criticism, I gotta call him out for it, man. It is what it is. I've watched you too long. G-Man lives. To not question your opinions. Just saying. But yeah, once again, all alleged. Who knows what's going on here? But there's clearly some bullshit going on, guys. Let me know what you think about this. If you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Follow me over on Twitter now. Mario Kart. That's the new handle, at least until hopefully I can get my original account back. Um, Follow me on Twitch at Cult Classic Cage. Tonight I will be live streaming. Okay, the Twilight Zone of gaming. We have a lot of insane things to go over. Sadly, I might have lost some of the things that I wanted to do with my previous account, because I had a lot of things. I always have a bunch of stuff bookmarked for you guys, so I'll try to figure something out. But yeah, guys. With all that being said, I'm out. Peace.